Welcome, friends. Today I will tell you about the history of the Russian Navy. Let's watch it all together. In the deep silence of the oceans, there was a power born in the shadow of the Cold War. Warships the size of cities powered by nuclear reactors. Kirov-class cruisers were not just ships. They were a political message of an era. These giants were designed to hunt aircraft carriers, equipped with firepower capable of challenging an entire fleet on their own. Some faded into history, while others were reborn with the weapons of the modern age. This video tells the story of the world's largest surface warships, from the past to the present. 1980. Kirov is the first nuclear-powered heavy cruiser, marking a new era in the Soviet Navy's surface warships. Entering service during the most tense period of the Cold War, this ship was designed to threaten U.S. aircraft carrier groups. Thanks to its nuclear reactors, Kirov had an almost unlimited range and was capable of long-term ocean patrols. Its main weapon system was the P-700 Granite anti-ship missiles, developed to destroy large surface targets. It was also equipped with layered air defense systems. The emergence of Kirov resonated strongly in the Western world, leading NATO to classify it as a battlecruiser. However, high maintenance costs and the dissolution of the Soviet Union resulted in the ship being retired early. Nevertheless, Kirov remains a symbolic platform that laid the foundation of modern Russian naval doctrine. 1984. Frunze, Admiral Lazarev Frunze, was built as the second ship of the Kirov class for the Soviet Pacific Fleet. Building on the experiences of the Kirov, some of its systems were improved, particularly its sensor and electronic warfare capabilities. Its mission was to provide deterrence against U.S. Navy aircraft carrier task forces in the Pacific Ocean. During the Cold War, its very presence carried a strategic message. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the ship was renamed Admiral Lazarev and withdrawn from active duty due to economic problems. Its nuclear propulsion system and massive size made modernization extremely costly. Today, Lazarev, which is in reserve status, is considered one of the largest but most unfortunate ships in the history of the Russian Navy. Although its service life was limited, it became one of the symbols of Soviet power in the Pacific. 1988. Kalinin, Admiral Nakhimov Kalinin, stands out as the Kirov-class ship that underwent the most comprehensive modernization. Although it was built during the Soviet era, its main significance comes from being completely renewed during the Russian Federation period. Renamed Admiral Nakhimov, the ship underwent a transformation that can be considered almost tantamount to being rebuilt from scratch during modernization. Old Soviet missiles were replaced by modern and hypersonic systems such as Kalibr, Onyx, and Zircon. Radar, sensor, and electronic warfare systems were updated to meet 21st century standards. This transformation is the most concrete example of Russia's effort to make its surface fleet globally effective again. Admiral Nakhimov is a platform aimed at becoming one of the world's most powerful surface warships upon completion. 1998. Pyotr Velikiy. Pyotr Velikiy is the last of the Kirov-class ships and currently the only one still in active service. Serving as the flagship of the Russian Navy, this massive cruiser forms the backbone of the Northern Fleet. Its mission is to serve as the naval component of nuclear deterrence and to deliver superior firepower against high-value targets. Pyotr Velikiy, with its P-700 Granite missiles, advanced air defense systems, and powerful radar equipment, is considered equivalent to an entire task force on its own. Through long-term Atlantic and Arctic patrols, it represents Russia's global naval presence. Pyotr Velikiy, which showcases Russia's naval power both militarily and politically, is one of the most tangible examples of Cold War legacy carried into the present day. 1983 Slava Moskva. Slava is one of the most important missile cruisers developed to counter the aircraft carrier task forces of the Soviet Navy. When it entered service, its primary mission was to destroy high-value targets of the U.S. Navy from long range. To this end, the ship was equipped with large and heavy P-500 Basalt/P-1000 Vulcan anti-ship missiles. These missiles were designed for coordinated salvo launches to saturate air defense systems. Serving for many years as the flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, Moskva continued to serve in the Russian Navy after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. Despite modernizations, the ship's design reflected Cold War doctrine. Throughout its service, it became a symbol of Russian naval presence in the Black Sea and the Mediterranean. Moskva's decommissioning marks an important turning point, indicating that the Slava class is gradually starting to withdraw from the scene. 1989. Marshal Ustinov. Marshal Ustinov is considered one of the most balanced and longest-serving ships of the Slava class. The cruiser, serving in the Northern Fleet, has distinguished itself particularly through Atlantic and Arctic Ocean patrols. The ship's main mission is to protect Russian submarines and strategic assets while also providing a deterrent against NATO naval forces. Marshal Ustinov underwent an extensive modernization, with upgrades to its radar, sensors, and electronic warfare systems, extending its operational life. It is one of the rare large Soviet-built surface ships that has remained active in the post-Cold War period. In this regard, it is a symbolic platform that combines both Soviet heritage and modern Russian naval doctrine in a single hull. 1989, Varyag is the Pacific Fleet representative of the Slava class, and has been one of the most important elements of Russia's naval power in the Far East. Its mission is to protect Russian interests in the Pacific Ocean and serve as a balancing factor against the activities of the U.S. and Allied navies. Thanks to its long-range anti-ship missiles and powerful air defense systems, Varyag is a platform capable of providing significant deterrence on its own. It has regularly participated in large-scale exercises and has served as the flagship in joint naval activities with the Chinese and Indian navies. Today, Varyag stands as the most active and visible ship of the Slava class, serving as the showcase of the Russian Navy in the Pacific. 1980. Sovremenny is a symbol of the importance the Soviet Navy placed on surface combatants, being the first ship to bear the class name. At the core of its design is high-speed and concentrated firepower aimed at countering U.S. aircraft carrier task forces. To this end, the ship is equipped with powerful anti-ship missiles and rapid-firing gun systems. In Soviet doctrine, Sovremenny was envisioned as the spearhead of fleet attacks, planned as a hit-and-run platform capable of challenging naval superiority in a short time. Despite the advantages of high speed and firepower, its complex machinery and maintenance requirements made long-term operation difficult. Nevertheless, Sovremenny sent a clear strategic message to Western navies during the Cold War. 1982. Otlishny is one of the mature early examples of the Sovremenny class. Operational experience gained from the first ship was reflected in this platform, with some improvements in sensor placement and weapon integration. Otlishny's main mission was to provide heavy fire against surface targets while operating with fleet units, and to take advantage of speed in naval combat. The ship, which stood out in exercises for its high maneuverability and artillery fire, represents the aggressive character of the Soviet destroyer concept. Otlishny, remaining in service towards the end of the Cold War, was considered a platform that pushed the technological boundaries of its time but had a heavy maintenance burden. 1985. Bystryy is the best-known representative of the Sovremenny class in the Pacific Fleet, and true to the meaning of its name, it emphasizes the concept of speed. Deployed in the Far East, the ship has been used to provide regional deterrence against the Pacific operations of the U.S. and Allied navies. Long-range patrols and multinational exercises play a significant role in Bystryy's operational history. Even after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Bystryy managed to remain in service with certain modernizations, making it one of the most preserved examples of the class to the present day. In this regard, it represents the continuity of the Soviet legacy within the Russian Navy. 1981. Udaloy is the first ship of the Special Destroyer class that the Soviet Navy developed to counter the submarine threat. Throughout the Cold War, the U.S. nuclear submarine fleet was seen as the greatest threat, so the Udaloy class was designed specifically for the hunter role. The ship stands out with its powerful sonar systems, anti-submarine missiles, and capacity to carry 2 helicopters. Its mission is to protect Soviet ballistic missile submarines, and to detect and destroy enemy submarines. The entry of Udaloy into service demonstrated the increasing importance placed in Soviet naval doctrine on deep-sea control rather than surface combat. 1983. Admiral Vinogradov. Admiral Vinogradov is one of the most active and longest-serving ships of the Udaloy class in the Pacific Fleet. Stationed in the Far East, this destroyer has been a key element of regional anti-submarine defense, particularly against U.S. and Allied submarine activities. Thanks to modernizations, its electronic systems have been updated, and its operational life has been extended. Its participation in numerous international exercises demonstrates that the ship has been used not only as a military asset, but also as a diplomatic tool. Vinogradov is one of the best examples of how long a Soviet-built destroyer can remain effective within the Russian Navy. 1984. Severomorsk. Severomorsk is one of the backbone ships of the Udaloy class in the Northern Fleet. Its operational area covers strategic regions such as the Barents Sea and the North Atlantic. These areas are extremely critical due to their proximity to Russia's nuclear submarine bases. The main mission of Severomorsk is to protect these submarines and to prevent NATO submarines from infiltrating the area. Designed to operate for extended periods in cold climate conditions, the ship has demonstrated high resilience in Arctic naval operations. In this respect, Severomorsk is considered one of the silent guardians of Russia's northern maritime security. 1987. Vice-Admiral Kulakov. Vice-Admiral Kulakov represents a more mature design as one of the later ships of the Udaloy class. It is one of the rare large destroyers that managed to remain active in the Russian Navy after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It is known for long-term missions carried out in the Mediterranean, Atlantic, and Northern Seas. Within the scope of modernization programs, its sensors and command control systems have been upgraded, making it more effective against modern threats. Kulakov is a symbolic platform demonstrating that the Soviet naval heritage could be smoothly transferred to the era of the Russian Federation. 2018 Admiral Gorshkov, Vice-Admiral Kulakov, represents a more mature design as one of the later ships of the Udaloy class. It is one of the rare, large destroyers that managed to remain active in the Russian Navy after the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It is known for long-term missions carried out in the Mediterranean, Atlantic, and Northern Seas. Within the scope of modernization programs, its sensors and command control systems have been upgraded, making it more effective against modern threats. Kulakov is a symbolic platform demonstrating that the Soviet naval heritage could be smoothly transferred to the era of the Russian Federation. 2020. Admiral Kasatonov. Admiral Kasatonov, as the second ship of the class, is a platform that directly reflects the operational experience gained from Gorshkov. There were no major design changes, but improvements were made in sensor integration, software systems, and reliability. Serving in the Northern Fleet, the ship has taken on surveillance and deterrence missions, particularly against NATO naval forces. Admiral Kasatonov is of strategic importance in demonstrating that the Russian Navy can put new generation frigates into service in series. 2022. Admiral Golovko. Admiral Golovko represents the maturation stage of the class. With this ship, the proportion of domestically produced components in propulsion, radar, and combat management systems has been increased. Configured to operate in the Arctic and Northern Seas, Golovko plays an important role in Russia's northern strategy. Thanks to its multi-role design, it combines air defense, anti-submarine defense, and long-range missile strike missions on a single platform. Admiral Golovko demonstrates that the modernization process of the Russian Navy has now moved from an experimental stage to a stable phase. 2023 Admiral Isakov, as the fourth ship of the Admiral Gorshkov class, reflects the most current technological standards of the series. This ship serves as a template for the Russian Navy's future surface fleet. It stands out with its enhanced air defense capabilities, modern command and control infrastructure, and living spaces optimized for long-duration missions. Admiral Isakov is a concrete example of the transition from the large but cumbersome ships of the Soviet era to more compact, smarter, and multi-purpose platforms. It is one of the clearest representatives of the qualitative transformation in Russia's naval power. 2008. Steregushchiy. Steregushchiy is considered the first true modern corvette built by Russia in the post-Soviet era. With its low radar signature, modern sensors, and multi-role mission concept, it is clearly distinguished from previous generations of small warships. Its main mission is patrolling, coastal defense, and anti-submarine warfare in narrow and threat-intense maritime areas, such as the Baltic. The commissioning of Steregushchiy is a clear indication that the Russian Navy is shifting from the large but few ships approach towards more agile and technologically advanced platforms. 2011 Subrazitelny, as the second ship of the Steregushchiy class, reflects the operational experience gained from the first platform. Improvements have been made in radar, command control, and electronic warfare systems. Serving in the Baltic Fleet, the ship undertakes surveillance and rapid response missions in areas with intense NATO activity. Sovremenny represents the maturation stage of the class, and has proven that the Russian Navy's serially produced modern corvette concept is successful. 2014, Stoichkiy. Stoichkiy belongs to a more advanced subvariant of the Steregushchiy class. Its sensor integration and air defense capabilities have been enhanced compared to previous ships. It has been optimized to operate in environments like the Baltic Sea, which are narrow, shallow, and have a high electronic warfare threat. Stoichkiy is an important platform that demonstrates the Russian Navy's adoption of a high-tech plus low-visibility approach in coastal waters. 2014, Gradsvyazhsk, Buyan-M. The Gradsvyazhsk is the ship that showcases the most striking feature of the Buyan-M class to the world: strategic strike capabilities with long-range caliber missiles from a small corvette. Striking targets thousands of kilometers away from the Caspian Sea has made this class resonate globally. The Gradsvyazhsk is a concrete example of the Russian doctrine of small platform, big impact. 2015, Uglich, Buyan-M. Uglich is a multi-purpose corvette designed in accordance with the river sea concept of the Buyan-M class. Its ability to operate in shallow waters and inland waterways allows the ship to be deployed in unexpected areas. With its caliber missile capability, it serves not only a tactical, but also a strategic deterrence role. Uglich is one of the platforms that enhance the geographical flexibility of the Russian Navy. 2016, Zeleny Dol, Buyan-M. Zeleny Dol is one of the most well-known ships of the Buyan-M class serving in the Black Sea. Despite its small size, it can carry out the missions of larger warships with the cruise missiles it carries. Zeleny Dol represents the Russian Navy's modern approach to asymmetric naval power, small ships that are difficult to detect and have high striking power instead of expensive and large platforms. 2018, Ivan Gren. Ivan Gren is the first modern large landing ship that Russia designed from scratch and put into service after the Soviet era. Its primary mission is to deliver armored vehicles, troops, and logistical components directly to the shore. Thanks to its bow ramp, the ship can conduct landings without the need for port infrastructure. The commissioning of Ivan Gren has shown that the Russian Navy values not only missile and submarine power, but also regional military intervention and force projection capabilities. Despite delays in the design process, the ship has matured through operational experience and begun active service with the Baltic Fleet. Ivan Gren is considered a cornerstone of modern Russian amphibious doctrine. 2020, Pyotr Morgunov. Pyotr Morgunov is the second ship of the Ivan Gren class in a more mature version. Various improvements were made to the design based on the experience gained from the first ship. Balance, living spaces, and operational efficiency have been enhanced. Pyotr Morgunov is configured to be used not only for transporting soldiers and vehicles, but also for humanitarian aid, evacuation, and support missions. With this ship, the Russian Navy has achieved the capacity to conduct limited-scale amphibious operations in a safer and more sustainable manner. Pyotr Morgunov is an important part of Russia's goal of building a flexible and multi-purpose naval force in the modern era. 2013, Yury Dolgorukiy. Yury Dolgorukiy is the first ship of the Bystryy class and the first strategic nuclear ballistic missile submarine built by Russia in the post-Soviet period. This submarine was developed to re-establish the naval component of Russia's nuclear deterrent. Its main weapon, the Bulava intercontinental ballistic missiles, have a range of thousands of kilometers and the capacity to carry nuclear warheads. The commissioning of Yury Dolgorukiy symbolizes Russia's strategic recovery from the military decline experienced after the Cold War. Serving in the Northern Fleet, the submarine is designed to remain hidden for extended periods beneath the Arctic ice. With this capability, it has become one of the most secure components of the Russian nuclear triad. 2014, Alexander Nevsky. Alexander Nevsky is the first representative of the Bystryy class assigned to the Pacific Fleet. Its mission is to guarantee Russia's strategic nuclear deterrence in the Far East. The expanse of the Pacific Ocean provides an extremely favorable hiding area for this submarine. Alexander Nevsky leaves a much lower acoustic signature compared to previous Soviet SSBNs, thanks to its quieter propulsion system and advanced sonars. This makes it extremely difficult to detect. The submarine is a key component of Russia's strategic defense along the China Sea, Pacific, and Arctic lines. Like the historical figure it is named after, It has taken on the role of the country's guardian of the distant borders. 2015, Vladimir Monomakh. Vladimir Monomakh represents a stage where the design matured as the third ship of the Bystryy class. The technical and operational experiences gained from the first two submarines resulted in a more balanced structure in this platform. Equipped with Bulava missiles, Vladimir Monomakh is one of the key elements of Russia's second strike capability. The submarine, serving in the Pacific Fleet, is optimized for long-term patrols. This vessel is an important milestone, demonstrating that Russia's nuclear deterrence has transitioned from being experimental to having a stable and continuous structure. 2020, Knyaz Vladimir, Bystryy A. Knyaz Vladimir is the first ship of the upgraded Bystryy A subclass. In this variant, the hull design, acoustic insulation, and command and control systems have been significantly modernized. As a result, the submarine is quieter, harder to detect, and deadlier compared to its predecessors. Knyaz Vladimir is at the center of Russia's efforts to adapt its nuclear deterrence to the conditions of the 21st century. Serving in the Northern Fleet, this submarine is one of the strongest underwater symbols of Russia's strategic dominance, particularly in the Arctic region. 2021, Knyaz Oleg, Bystryy A. Knyaz Oleg is the second ship of the Bystryy A class and one of the most modern strategic submarines in the Pacific Fleet. It stands out for its advanced sensors, improved living quarters, and design that enhances crew efficiency during long missions. Knyaz Oleg demonstrates that Russia's nuclear deterrent is strengthened not only numerically, but also qualitatively. This submarine sets a standard for future Bystryy A ships to enter service. With its stealth and striking power, it represents the most advanced point of the naval component of the Russian nuclear triad. 2014, Severodvinsk, Yasen. Severodvinsk is the first ship of the Yasen class and one of the most advanced nuclear attack submarines, built by Russia in the post-Soviet era. This platform is designed against U.S. aircraft carrier groups, surface warships, and land targets. Equipped with Kalibr and Onyx cruise missiles, Severodvinsk is a multi-role hunter. Its stealth, advanced sonars, and deep-diving capability represent a significant leap compared to previous generation Soviet submarines. Its commissioning is a clear indication that Russia has become a formidable force in the deep seas once again. 2021, Kazan, Yasen-M Kazan, is the first ship of the improved Yasen-M subclass. All the experience gained from Severodvinsk has been incorporated into this platform. The hull structure is more compact, and its acoustic signature is lower. The sensors and combat management system have been significantly upgraded. Kazan is considered one of the quietest and hardest to detect attack submarines of the Russian Navy. Its main role is to hunt enemy submarines, shadow surface fleets, and when necessary, conduct long-range precision strikes. Kazan represents the most advanced level that Russian submarine technology has reached. 2023, Novosibirsk, Yasen-M. Novosibirsk is the second ship of the Yasen-M class to enter serial production and has been assigned to the Pacific Fleet. This shows that Russia uses its modern submarine force not only in the North Atlantic, but also as a balancing factor in the Pacific. Novosibirsk is effective against both sea and land targets with its advanced cruise missiles. Optimized for long-term patrols, this submarine is a clear demonstration of the importance Russia places on attack submarines in its global maritime strategy. 1984. Akula. Akula is the first ship of a submarine class that made a significant impact in the Western world during the Cold War. When it entered service, it was regarded as the quietest attack submarine ever produced by the Soviet Navy. The Akula class, which was a serious surprise for NATO, significantly altered the acoustic balance with U.S. submarines. This class is one of the pinnacles of Soviet submarine engineering. 1986, Pantera, Akula. Pantera is one of the more mature early examples of the Akula class. It differs from its predecessor with improved sonar systems and better noise insulation. Serving in the Northern Fleet, Pantera was particularly used in shadow operations against NATO submarines. Its ability to remain active for many years proves how robust and forward-thinking the Akula class design is. 1988, Leopard, Akula. Leopard is one of the late-period ships of the Akula class, equipped with more advanced electronics and weapon systems. Its inclusion in modernization programs even after the dissolution of the Soviet Union shows how valuable this class is to the Russian Navy. Leopard is one of the examples of the Cold War legacy successfully transferred to the modern Russian submarine fleet.